Hello, my friends. Today we're learning Basra Daf Lamed. We're going to start Daf Chof on base from Ahud Omar Lechavrei. So this guy told his friend, "My boy's by base." Reuven told Shimon, "What are you doing in my house?" Omar Le, Shimon told Reuven, "Minochza binte, I bought off you, Reuven. Ba'achlish ne chazaka, and I have chazaka in this house. I've been here 3 years." Omar Le, so Reuven told Shimon, I was living in the inner rooms while you're living in the outer rooms. I was living with you, so that's not chazaka. Chazaka is when you live by yourself. Also, like Rav Nachman, this story came in front of Rav Nachman. Omalei zil brora chiloscho. Bring a raya that your chazaka, the proper chazaka, that you had the chazaka without the morikama Reuven in the house. Omar Rova, Ochi Dina, is this the right way to pass him? The Dina is Amoitzi Mechaver Olavaraya. Shimon is Muchzik in the house. Reuven's Moitzi from him. He has to bring a raya that he was in the back rooms. Not Shimon has to bring a raya that Reuven wasn't in the back rooms. So you have a Machlokes here on Rav and Rav Nachman. Reuven is a Moicha. Shimon is a Koina. Rav Nachman holds the Koina, the Loikeach, needs to bring a raya, and Rava holds that the Moicha needs to bring a raya. Says the Gemara Kasha, Veromi the Rava, Veromi the Rav Nachman, the Rav Nachman. We have a steer from another story that we're going to bring, that we could see that over there, Akasha Rava on Rava, that here Rava says that the Moicha has to bring a raya, there he says the Loikeach has to bring the raya. And Akasha Rav Nachman, that over here he says that the Loikeach has to bring the raya, over there he says the Moicha has to bring the raya. That this man, the Omar Lechavrei, Reuven told Shimon, Kol nichse de barasisin, all the nechosim of a person, the barasisin that I've bought, mazbina loch, I'm selling it to you. Avoy ahai ara, there was this piece of land, they have a mikri de barasisin, that people used to call it a barasisin, and so it was part of the portfolio that he was selling. Omalei, so after they agreed, so again, Reuven sold to Shimon all the nechosim that he owns that belong to barasisin. After they closed the contract, they had a discussion. Omalei holav de barasisin he. This is not really belongs to barasisin. Everyone call it barasisins, but really this piece of land I never bought from barasisin. So all the other pieces of lands are yours, but this one does not belong to you. Sorry about that. So again, we had here a case. Reuven sold the field that he bought from barasisin, all the field that he bought from barasisin to Shimon. And now after they've agreed on the contract, there's one field that everyone calls it that belongs to barasisin, and Reuven Tainas to Shimon, this one doesn't really belong to barasisin. The Seder Gemara, also the Kameder of Nachman, this case came in front of Rav Nachman. Ukva biyoda de loikeach. He said, this field that is a suffix on goes to the buyer, and if the seller brings a raya that didn't really belong to barasisin, and it's just called that way, so he'll get it back. But until he doesn't bring a raya, we believe the loikeach. So that's already a stirrer to what we said before. Rav Nachman said the loikeach has to bring a raya. Here he said the moich has to bring a raya. Omali Rava told Rav Nachman, Dina ochi, this is Dina, moitim chaver of a raya. Shimon the loikeach is not mochzik in the field. He has to bring a raya that really belongs to barasisin, and only then he gets a field, and that means the loikeach has to bring the raya, not the moicha. And before Rava said that the moicha has to bring a raya. So the more kasha de Rava, it's a steer on Rava. Kasha de Rav Nachman, it's a steer of Nachman against Rav Nachman. So the more de Rava loy kasha, why not? Hosa moicha koi benochse, hocha loikeach koi benechse. That means Rava always says, sometimes it's loikeach, sometimes it's a moicha. So the case by us, where we're talking about chazaka, so who's muchzik? The one who has the raya, they've been there 3 years. That's the loikeach. So who's moitzi? The moicha. The moicha has to bring a raya that he also lived in the house, and if he doesn't bring a raya, it stays by the loikeach, and that's why we say the moicha has to bring a raya. Over here, who's muchzik? Over here, the moicha is muchzik, because it's still in his possession. So therefore the loikach has to bring a raya. It depends who's the moitzi. In each case it's different. The Rav Nachman Namiloikashi, why not? Came in the Omalei de Barasisin, since he said he's selling all the fields of Barasisin. We create the Barasisin, everyone calls it this is the fields of Barasisin. Or Lady Day, Rami, Ligu de la Barasisinu. He's the one who has to bring. In the Moicha is the one who has to bring Raya because he said he's selling Barasisins the Chosim. Everyone calls this specific Neches property Barasisin's property, so therefore he has to bring Raya that it's not Barasisin's property. Aval hocha, but over here by the case where the chazaka lo yeh lo dinokit shtora. Let's say this loikeach Shimon who's living 3 years in the field, in the house, would say he would bring a star. Miller minanle, would we not tell him to Shimon kaim shtocha first be proof that your star is a good star, that the edim that are signed are not forged. Only afterwards you get the neches, you get the property. So therefore also here you timing you have a chazaka, you have 3 years. Prove that the proper chazaka, because Reuven's timing that he was living in the back room. So until you can't prove Reuven wasn't living in the back room, you don't have a proper chazaka. It's like you don't have a kiyum to the shtar, and that's why by us in the case of chazaka, the loikeach is the one that needs to bring a raya, like it's to prove a shtar, to prove they has a proper chazaka. But by us, the moicha has to bring a raya because the moicha is going against the common agreement of everyone that this is Barasisin's fields. This guy told his friend Reuven told Shimon, my boy is by base of what you're doing in this house. Shimon told him, and I have 3 years here. So Reuven told Shimon, I've been far away, I've been in Peru in the jungle. So I couldn't know that you moved into my house to do a mechal. What's the whole idea of chazaka that you lived in front of the owner and he didn't do a mechal? I couldn't do a mechal, I was in Peru. So Shimon told Reuven, I have edim that you came here once a year for a month to town. So Reuven told Shimon, yes, I did come once a year from Peru to here to and I've been in town, but the reason why I didn't do machok, because I wasn't checking after my property. I was busy with my business in the market. I had the market to pay my trip in Peru for 11 months. I had to work hard for 1 month. It's normal for a person if he's only in town for 30 days, that he's busy with the market 30 days, and he doesn't have time to realize that someone moved into his property because he has another property that he was living in when he had come in once a year for a month. And therefore the chazaka of Shimon is not chazaka. So let's explain this again outside. First, let's say again, the chazaka has to be that the owner, the morikama, is in town. If he lives far away, it's not considered a chazaka. So here Reuven came to Shimon, what are you doing in my field? He said, I bought off you, have a chazaka. Shimon told him, yeah, I've been in Peru. Reuven told him, yeah, I was in Peru, that's why I didn't do a mechal. So Shimon said, what do you mean? He came once a year for a month over here. So Reuven said, yeah, he came for once a year for a month, but I was busy with the market. So the Gemara says, Rava says, that's a good taina and it's not considered a good chazaka. Says the Gemara the next story. Reuven told Shimon, what my boys by Aryeh, what are you doing in this piece of land? I bought it off Levi. The Omali, he told me, the Dovna he bought it for me. Omalei, so Reuven told Shimon, Atlav Kamoidis, you agreed to me, Lamed on base, Dai Aryeh Didi. You agree that this field used to belong to me. You've never bought off me. You're not claiming you've bought off me. Vil, go, leave my property. If you bought off Levi, go to Levi. You have no talk to me. Omarova, Dino Kamale, it's correct. He has a point. So again, Reuven came to Shimon, what are you doing in my land? He says, I've been here chazaka and I bought off Levi, that bought off you. So Reuven tells him, I don't know, you agree that used to belong to me. You never taining you bought off me. Leave my property. You have a taining against Levi, go to Levi. And says Rova, this thing is correct. Another story. This guy Reuven told Shimon, my boys by Aryeh, what are you doing in my land? Like similar, the beginning starts like before. I bought off Levi, and I've been here 3 years. So Reuven told Shimon, Planya, Levi Gazlano, who is a Gazlan. and you bought off a Gazlan, really belongs to me, give it to me back. Omalei, so Shimon told Reuven that, Isle Saadi, I have Adim, the Ossi in Nichiboch, that I came to ask you if I should buy it off Levi or not. Vermarkli, and you told me, Zil Zovin, go buy it off Levi. So that's a proof that you agreed that it belongs to Levi. Omalei, so Reuven told Shimon, Asheni Nuach Lerishan Koshe Menu, I did really belongs to me and Levi stole it off me. The reason why I told him to buy off Levi, because I know Levi is a tough guy. I could never win him in Besdin. He'll never come to Besdin. He's a Gavra Alima. I don't want to deal with him. You're an easy guy to deal with. That's why I told you, go buy off Levi, and then I'll buy off you. I'll come take you to Besdin, and I'll prove my point, and I'll get back my land. That's why I told you to buy it off Levi, not because it really belongs to Levi. It's correct what he's saying, and Reuben wins the case. Even though that Shimon could bring Adim, that Reuven is the one who told him that it's a good idea to buy off Levi. Said the Gemara, Keman, Admoin, who does Rava go like? Like Admoin, it's a machloikis, and the Chachamim will argue on Admoin. Why is Rava going like a Yochid? It's a kasha that Nan we learned in the Mishnah Aryeh la Soda v'chosum oleh be'ed. So Reuven comes to Shimon. He says, "This field belongs to me," and Shimon bought this field from Levi, and on the document where he bought it off Levi, Reuven signed as one aid that he bought off Levi. Admon says, Reuven could say the reason why I signed on this document, I bought it off Levi, not because it really belongs to Levi, it's because I knew from Levi I could never get it back. That's why I prefer that you buy it and then I get it back from you. The Chachamim, they argue, no, he lost his chus, and therefore, and because you signed, Reuven is signed on the document saying that he is a witness on the sale from Levi to Shimon. That means he admits that Shimon Levi was the owner. So it's a kasha how Rava goes only like Admon, not like Chachamim. Said the Gemara, no, afilu teima rabbanon. Rava can fit in also like rabbanon. Hosom ovad leimaisa. Over there, that Reuven signed on a document. That's a proof that he admits that it really belongs to Levi. Aval hocha over here, Dibura. All he did is he suggested Shimon to buy off Levi. People could speak. Mikra is like Losha Mikra. People speak because it's not a strong ma'isa to prove that it's really true. So he suggested you to buy it, but it wasn't a good idea because it really belongs to Reuven, and therefore Reuven gets it back now. And therefore Rava could fit in also Lefi Chachamim. Telling more another story. This Reuven told Shimon, my boys by Aryeh, what are you doing, Shimon, in my land? I bought off Levi, and I've been 3 years in the land. So Reuven told Shimon, Plania, Levi, Gazlano, who is a Gazlan. So Shimon told Reuven, I have Adim, the Osis Baruta, that he came earlier in the night or in the evening, and he told me, Zabnan Yali, buy it from me. Shimon tells Reuven, why are you telling me that this belongs to you? You told me before I bought it from Levi that, please, can you buy it from Levi for me? That means you agree that it belongs to Levi. So what are you saying now that it's yours? So Reuven told Shimon, Amina, I said to myself, is Bundinoi, you know why I told you to go buy off Levi for me and I was offering you money to go do that? Because really belongs to me. But I know to take Levi to court, probably low chances. He won't come to court. Even if he will, I'll have high lawyer's fees. It's a whole hassle. Everyone's going to be talking about it. I thought I'll offer a smaller amount and buy it back off. Really, it's mine, but it's worth it for me to pay the money and not go to Besdin and get it back. So that's why I offered to buy off Levi, not really because it belongs to Levi. Omarova says, Rava, Ovid Inish, the Zovin Dine. Yes, it makes sense that a person, even something belongs to him, he'll pay money for it just not to go to Besdin, and therefore that Reuven told Shimon, go buy it off Levi for me, doesn't mean that he admits that it really belongs to Levi. And therefore Reuven gets his land back. Selling more another case. Reuven told Shimon, my boys by Aryeh, Shimon, what are you doing in my land? Shimon told Reuven, I bought it off Levi, and I have chazaka in it. So Reuven says to Shimon, you say you have chazaka means 3 years, and you bought off Levi. I have a star that I bought off Levi 4 years ago. So therefore, that you bought it 3 years ago of your chazaka is not good. It's too late. Levi sold it a year before that to me, so it belongs to me. Malay, so Shimon told Reuven, Nisovra Shnei Chazaka. Tlashoni, when I said I'm sitting here, Chazaka, do you think I meant 3 years, the minimum time? Kamina, no, Shnei Chazaka Tuva Kamina. I meant much more than 3 years, before the 4 years that you bought it. I have Chazaka ready for 4.5 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. So therefore, I'm before you. You say you have a star from Levi that you bought it 4 years ago. My chazaka has been, I moved into the land already before 4 years ago, and that I said chazaka, I didn't mean 3 years, I meant more than 3 years. Omarova, avidi inchi dukor leishon tuva chazaka. Even though they said chazaka, normally chazaka means 3 years. No, a person could call chazaka even when he's been 10 years. It just means a minimum 3 years, but for sure even more. And therefore, Shimon could say, it doesn't mean that he's changing from what he said before he said chazaka, and now he's saying 4 years. No, chazaka can mean minimum 3 years, and now he's explaining, and he says, yeah, 4.5 or 10 years. And therefore, I've been here before you. That you bought off Levi, it's after I bought off Levi, and therefore belongs to me, Shimon, not to you, Reuven. Said the Gemara, Vahanimili, that's Dafka that we believe Shimon, the Ochlo Sheva, that he's been already 7 years, Sheva Shonim in this field, and he has Chazaka. The Kodim Chazaka, the high, he has 3 years Chazaka, the Shtar Dach before the Shtar of Reuven of 4 years ago. Aval Shis, but if we only have 6 years from now backwards, that's that Levi sold it to Reuven 4 years ago, that's a mechoin against Shimon, and therefore Shimon couldn't lose his shtar. So let's explain this outside again. Reuven came to Shimon, and Shimon said, what are you doing in my land? He told him, I bought it off Levi, and I've been here for Shonei Chazaka. He didn't say how many years. So Reuven said, what do you mean? I bought it off Levi 4 years ago. You're saying you have Chazaka of 3 years. I have a document saying I bought it off 4 years ago. So very good, you've been here for 3 years. But Levi sold you something that doesn't belong to him. So Shimon told him, yeah, when I said chazaka, I didn't mean 3 years, I meant before you 4 years. So I'm here before you. So Rava says on that, it's not considered changing what he said before, because when you say chazaka, it means minimum 3 years, but it doesn't mean only 3 years, and he could change and explain that he meant 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 years. And the Gemara explained, and therefore Shimon could keep the field, but only on condition that Shimon has a chazaka 7 years, because Reuven has a shtar from 4 years ago they bought off Levi. So let's say if Shimon has a chazaka only of 6 years, that means 6 years ago, what happened 4 years ago? That means 2 years after the 6 years back, Reuven has a shtar they bought off Levi. So if Shimon moved into the field 6 years ago, and 2 years after that, Levi goes and sells the field that used to belong to him, or he claims that it belongs to him, to Reuven, so Shimon knows in such a case he doesn't have a chazaka. That's a mecha. Levi is saying, no, you're ganev, Shimon. And that's considered a mecha if he's selling the field. And therefore, Shimon had to keep his shtar. And if Shimon didn't keep his shtar, it belongs to Reuven. But if Shimon has a chazaka from 7 years ago, that means when the shtar 4 years ago of Reuven is already after 3 years of chazaka of Shimon, so that mechira is a mechal too late. It's after that Shimon has a chazaka of 3 years. That mechal doesn't help anything. Thank you very much. We should all be blessed.